Hello everyone, welcome back. It's Space Engineers Plus Me, episode 71. I'm Enigmius, and for the first time in a very, very long time, we're starting a new build. We're parked here. We've got the Atlas on station, we've got Mars. We're going to be building a station. It's not a Death Star. I know some people, as soon as they saw that, they were thinking Death Star. It's not. It's just not. It is spherical in nature, with all kinds of circular things going on. And it's we're going to, first of all, try and make it cool, which is always a fun thing to do. It's going to hold all the machines that we want for processing all of the things and making all of the components. This time around, we're going to employ the system that we came up with to evenly divide the materials to all the different machines. If you just let the game itself decide where to go, it just stuffs the first machine it finds until it's full, and then it goes on to the next machine kind of thing. And that's not necessarily the best way to make use of a lot of machines. We want to kind of divide it up amongst other machines as much as possible so that they all get a piece of the pie, they're all working at the same time, and ultimately we get things done faster. So we're going to make use of something that we've made in the past directly. It's not even going to be a watered down version. It's going to be the exact same system. It'll look different because it's a different application, but it'll be doing the exact same thing that we had it doing on the planet. So that's definitely one of the things that are going to be in here. In addition to that, this is going to be sort of our hub for whatever we happen to be doing, really. So I wanted to make sure that there were plenty of places that we could dock ships, regardless of the size of those ships, transfer stuff off of the ships, transfer things from the station onto the ships if we need to, and not really feel like we were crunched for space in a way that just trying to dock with the station meant we were going to crash into something else. So we've got these outer rings, and where two rings intersect, there will be a docking port. So there will be a connector and probably a pressurized door, like a sliding door, so that we can get into and out of the station as well, not just transfer materials. And that will allow us to dock up to a lot of ships. How's that for descriptive? I never actually did the math. It'll be 5 ships that we'll be able to dock. And you say, why 5 and not 6? It's because the 6th thing that looks like this, instead of having a connector and a door, is actually going to extend out into a fully featured shipyard, so we can build all of these ships that are going to be docking and the other 5 intersections where the circles go. So that's the idea. So these circular arms that you see going all the way around the inner sphere, that's about as large as they're going to get. We're not going to fill it in to make a Death Star, because once you've got a station that's just a big sphere, whether you want it to be or not, it's a Death Star. It's even if it has no weapons, it's a damn Death Star. So we don't necessarily want to project that sort of image, but we do want to take our time and make things as cool as we can make them. Now, one of the things that I noticed, that I came up here and I started filling in this 1/8 section of this inner sphere. The inner portion will be a sphere. It'll be a closed sphere. There will probably be some windows somewhere, but for now I'm just blocking it in with armor blocks. As I was getting it all laid out and set up and lined up to my satisfaction, I realized that if I were to try and duplicate this shape 7 more times around this area so that we end up with a perfect sphere, it's going to take literally hours upon hours upon hours of placing a couple of blocks and then scooting over to the other area that's already done and counting blocks and then going over and placing a couple more. It's just not really a particularly effective way to do things. This is survival, so there is no mirror mode as far as I know. People have suggested that I use mirror mode, but what we can do in lieu of mirror mode is once we get this 1/8 section done, completely done, refined, sculpted, all happy the way I want it, make a blueprint of the station, and then we'll just translate the blueprint around the center point once we get everything all lined up, and use that as the easy way to duplicate what we've already done. So that's going to be hopefully an enormous time saver, because can you imagine if the next 8 episodes were just me showing you another 1/8 section of the space station going into place? I think maybe there would be 3 of you left by the time this inner sphere would be done. We don't want to do it like that. We want to kind of speed it up a little bit as best we can. So that's what we'll be doing. So put in a lot of time on this already, but I really like the way that it's shaping up. I wish the sun was at a more favorable angle. See, it's on this side of it, which isn't necessarily the most helpful position to be in, but it does give you kind of an idea of what's going on in there. Once we get the inner sphere done, we'll be doing some refining of these sections here, these large circular arms that go all the way around this way, that way, and the other. That'll be another thing that we'll be working on to refine as well, and probably use the blueprints. Once we get one the way we want it, we'll duplicate it around as quickly and easily as we can. But one of the things that I had in mind from the very beginning is I want a section that kind of shoots off from one of the intersections. Like you see, this is a docking intersection here. It's where two of these arms intersect. There's one arm, obviously, and there's the other arm, obviously. And in the middle where they intersect is a connector that will allow us to dock ships to this area. And there will also be sliding doors to pressurized compartments that would allow you to come off of a ship into the station and not necessarily need a ton of oxygen to do so. But we're going to have one of these intersection areas that shoots off to a shipyard, where we will build all of the ships that can dock with the space station for all the different things that they will be doing. We need a new mining ship, and I'm not unhappy with the Atlas at all. It's just that I've realized with the way everything is set up on it, if it's not on an ice lake trying to mine, it's going to struggle, and the gantries and the track ship are going to probably sustain a lot of damage if the Atlas is on even the slightest angle. It's one of those things where I built it and I'm happy with it because we wanted to do something and we did it. Now, having done it, I realize that there's some limitations to the design. So rather than lamenting over it and being all sad, we get excited because it's an excuse to build an entirely new mining ship, taking some of the successful things from the Atlas and hopefully designing around some of the things that didn't work so well in practical application. So that's going to be one of our first projects once this thing is set up to the basic standards. Now, I don't want to do a long series of just working on the space station because it gets a little bit samey after a while. So what we're going to do is we're going to set goals for the space station. Right now, the goal for the space station is to get the inner sphere closed in so that we can start setting up our machines. Once we've got some basic processing machines in place, power source, the basics, then we'll start working on our new mining ship, and we'll build it just offside from the station. We'll get that started. There's going to be a new construction ship that we're going to build because the ships now are getting so big. The idea of building them all with a hand welder is pretty daunting. That's what I've been doing so far, and I'm already at the point now where I realize if I want to get that thing welded without spending hours of my life just going back and forth between ships grabbing steel plates, I'm going to have to build a construction ship. So we're going to take a look at a new little construction ship whenever it's built. Then once we get the mining ship in service, either on the moon, which is there, or on Mars, which is there, we need a lot of iron. A lot of iron. It's freakish how much iron we're actually going to need. We're also going to need a lot of silicon for glass on the station. We don't want this thing to be a completely closed in sort of thing. I like the idea of having windows all over the place so that when you're inside, you don't feel like you're completely walled off from space. So in order to make that happen, we need a lot of silicon. And then once we've got the iron, once we've got the silicon, I'm sure I'll find something else that we need just as badly as everything else. Possibly platinum, because all of the ships that we want to be building are going to be using ion thrusters to some degree, and we know from past experience now just how much of a pain in the ass it is to come up with enough platinum, even to come up with enough platinum to make the thrusters on a ship like the Atlas, which has a reasonable number of large ion thrusters, but by no means as much as we can envision having on a ship. Even our next mining ship may well have more, so we'll see. That's what I've been working on. That's what we're going to be working on. I'm going to keep it this. Like I say, I'm going to really put the time into sculpting this one section before we go about duplicating it elsewhere. We'll build our little construction ship, and then hopefully by the next episode, if we don't have the inner sphere completely done, we'll have projection set up and kind of showing off how everything is working towards getting it done. And then not only will we have a space station in the works, we'll be doing it over Mars, which is something that we've been working on for a really long time. So I hope you're looking forward to the next episode as much as I'm looking forward to making it. If you want to be notified when I add it, you can subscribe to my channel or follow me on social media. Links for social media are always in the information box below the video. Feel free to leave your comments and feedback. Thanks for watching, guys, and take care.